You guys share your thoughts on that?
Oh gosh, Pat Patterson, another guy in my opinion, who had a world knowledge and about the psychology of wrestling, and quite frankly, if I ever had a question about something I was asked to do, or if I ever needed, like if I got into a position where I needed some help, if he was available, he's always the first guy I'd go to. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think he had something to do with the development of my character, which was basically Vince's idea, But Bruce told me that this was funny. Vince and him took a flight somewhere, and he said, "Bruce," he said, "I'm gonna prove a point to you. Everybody's got a price." So they're sitting in first class, and this was before you could still smoke on a plane, and Vince hates smoke. So this guy, either in front of him or behind him or next to him, this lights up a cigarette, and he says, "Man, can you please put your cigarette out?" He says, I'm sorry. He says, "But I paid for my seat, da 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 da." And so he goes, "Man, I'll give you a couple $100, He says, "I'm sorry." He says, I said, "Hey, look, I'll give you $500. And he says, "I'm sorry." He said, "I'll give you $1,000. He puts a cigarette out and he takes the money. and he looked at Bruce. He said, "See, everybody's got a price." And so anyway, that's. But I'm sure that Pat had something to do with the development.
Can you clear up one thing for me personally? So you're in the WWF or WWF at the time, and you're the North American champion, and they come up with this idea. I think Vince Sr. comes up with the idea of the Intercontinental title, and then you're supposed to have this match in what?
Rio de Janeiro,
okay, with Patterson for the Intercontinental.
Okay, what happened is the first time I went to New York, until then, my understanding was they had a world champion, world tag team champions, female world champion, and female tag team champions, and that was the only titles that they had. And so when they brought me in as the North American heavyweight champion. First time they introduced a new title to the territory. And so I don't know, a little while went on, and I just happened to mention to Vince Sr., I said, Bill Watts has a North American champion in Mid-South. And he said, "I didn't know that." So that's what, it was kind of like a respect thing. And so they made up a story, is what they did, is that, like Pat beats me, for the North American title, and then goes off to this tournament in Rio de Janeiro where all of these champions put their titles up, and whoever comes out of that tournament, the winner, is the Intercontinental champion.
So there is no match, there is no tape on it, you can't find it.
No.
Because there's people claiming there's tape on it. Oh, I have it.
No, it never happened. It was a story.
Well, wait a minute, Pat was supposed to be Southern heavyweight champion. When did that happen? That's the other mystery to this whole thing. Mike, how about your memories of Pat?
Yeah, Pat was a great psychologist and had a lot of experience, and had seen a lot in the business and helped a lot of guys. I remember Pat mostly when Barry and I first started back in 1984. Pat was a producer / agent on the road, and I worked with him one time at a bar mitzvah. They booked us at this bar mitzvah somewhere in New York.
Patterson at a bar mitzvah.
Yeah,
right.
and that's what the kid wanted. That's what the kid wanted for his bar mitzvah.
Pat Patterson.
So we had three matches on the card, and I worked with Pat. And then we jumped in the car and drove to Washington, D.C. for our night show that weekend. It was crazy. So, but yeah, and I remember I had just gotten married, and I got my wife on the road, which was basically the only time we ever got to see each other. I brought her on the road because I was never home. And Barry had a girlfriend on the road, and so we come back. We made it through this snowstorm, and Barry and I are on last with Sheik and Volkov, and we come back and our wife, or my wife and Barry's girlfriend, are in the back drinking pina coladas with Pat. And I'm like,
That's great.
but that's, and he was just happy. He was, I'm so happy you make it here.
He's a good host.
Wait a minute, that's a pretty good imitation of Pat.
that
That is
actually-
much better than you.
You're the one who imitates Pat. I've never even tried to.
I'm not even close to that. Can I hear another one? Do we have
was
another
good.
one?
Look at all you
Now you left the pressure on me. No.
We'll get a promo afterwards. He'll do Patterson.
I always want to know about. You
People
know
are
your
people.
book is on Amazon. Some of the fans wrote, so it
Yeah.
is available on
Okay.
Amazon.
Okay. Bob's like, it is?
Yeah. Well, yeah, people are people, and they got their ways. But you know what? They got to be committed to their ways, and they got to treat you good, and you got to treat them back. The golden rule, if everybody participated in using the golden rule, just think where we would be right now
Be a lot
as a
better
country.
off. Yeah, it would be a lot better off. Bob, we recently, unfortunately, lost wrestling great Pat Patterson. One thing we go back to in our early days is you had a 4 consecutive match program at the Cardinal with Pat Patterson. Any memories of the program and of Pat, of course, passing?
Oh yeah, big memories. Pat Patterson it was he's been in the business. He built a match while he was going in there, and he's the only man in the world that ever went 4 times in a row in Madison Square Garden.
There you go.
And when we got done with the people, they were just out of it as far as excited and happiness and wanting to have another war. They didn't want it to end. And then Vince Sr. is very obvious of that. He's out there listening. He said, "We'll have it again then." And they announced the match for the next show. And there we go again. 4 times in a row. It was fantastic. And he was a real big artist in the match as far as building it. You start out real slow. You do something. You get broke down again. And you do it again. And each time you do that, the people get louder and louder and louder because they want him to beat me up, or I want to beat him up. And he goes out and creates a match, and has an ending that they possibly might not like. He's going to win, boom, and he's going to get the title next time. They're saying, and that's the ball game.
That's the ball game.
But
4 matches is unheard of back then. 4 matches at the Garden.
Four matches at the Garden.
That's unheard of.
I mean, Jesse was in and out. 1 match.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Boy, was he mad.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, you took him out too quick.
You took him out like
you
that.
took him out too quick. I guess he couldn't work with you though. He was
Pat
a talented.
Patterson was pretty high up in the business.
Sure.
And, he helped Vince Jr. on some things. So he did it right in the ring. He did it right in the ring. It wasn't about him. It was about the match, and you learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
I enjoyed every match.
Nice.
We had some pretty long matches out of that 4.
Absolutely.
But
All right, with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with the iconic Bob Backlund.
See you in a sec.
And
Roofie. So, other words, roofie.
it's
Yeah,
called
roofie.
roofies. And
Yep.
it happened to me. I told you last time it happened to me in the WWF, and I can't swear on a stack of Bibles what happened to me, except that I had, I think I got circle jerked. You know.
Oh my God! What was
by-
Pat Patterson by us?
Would you please?
Pat Patterson, Lord Alfred Hayes, Mel Phillips,
Lord Alfred
Garvin.
Hayes?
You want me to continue?
Go ahead.
I mean, my goodness. Oh my
Lord
God.
Alfred Hayes? I'm not going to sleep for a week now, thanks. Oh, my God.
And the sad thing is, most of these guys have passed away, but Pat hasn't. And anybody that doesn't know that Pat's, gay or likes young kids or whatever,
Hello?
is in a different world.
What's the possibilities that Pat has your semen on a couple of jars on top of his cabinet? Mark Billy Jack.
Would you stop it? Oh, my God.
I don't know, but his ex-boyfriend Terry Garvin liked my butt.
No, did he?
Because he stuck his finger, I told you, in my butt in the
Wrecked
shower.
him? Damn near killed him.
I told him, I said I would kill him if he ever done it again.
Was he like, just kidding? We're just kidding. Just
Well-
boys being boys.
I guess he would give me the stinky finger test.
Billy Jack Payne.
Straight to the top. We're living this life, not just dreaming it, we're doing it for real. Straight to the top. Working hard every day just to live out that way.
All right, one more name, and then we got the ESS, and then we're going to reveal Tony's artwork. I got 3 names, but I'm gonna go with Piper.
I got to know Piper at Legend House. Never knew him before then. Ain't that weird?
That is
That
weird.
what was so good about Legend House. That's why I say it wasn't staged. We didn't know each other. Vince made sure he picked a crew that had never traveled together, never did nothing together. Because he was a heel. I was a baby face. Heels and baby didn't travel together. If you did, you got fired.
Yeah.
So that's why Vince put it together the way he put it together.
Fuck,
Heels and baby-
if you're in a burning car, you're not allowed to touch each other.
Exactly. They took the business versus. So Vince knew that was the perfect crew of guys to put, together, and then to put Pat Patterson there, which is, how we say in the days about being politically correct. Well, he's gay, right? Yeah, he's gay. So a lot of guys have funny feelings about gay guys too. So he picked just the right crew. And Pat Patterson used to say every day that Vince would never do another one. He said because it would never be as good.
Yeah, it was great.
Because with that first hand, you could see the guys not working.
Well, I got to be
How
honest
they
with you.
react.
I told you in the green
Because they
room,
put
I
us
thought it
in-
was scripted. I thought it was a scripted program.
The only strip part, how they scripted it, they put us in situations we've never been in before
Right.
to see how we react in them.
Did
That
they-
was the
Is there
strip
like a
part.
deleted scene of like Pat Patterson in the closet while you're sleeping and he's going to come?
No,
They
none
didn't
of
do that?
No. If you say you watch the program, if you watch the program, just like with me, they like picture this.
Okay.
You're a young man.
Not that young, but.
They come in there and they tell you you're gonna go play polo, and leave it like that. What are you thinking?
Thinking, oh shit, I got to play polo.
If you
today.
watch Legend, you see about this, and they want to get that expression.
Yeah, right.
So they didn't tell us nothing. Every day that little girl would come in there, and she would tell us what we got to do that day.
But let me ask you, when Pat reveals that he's a homosexual on the show, you all looking like this is the first time you ever heard this. I mean, that had to be scripted, right? You all knew he was gay.
Not me.
Really?
I don't know about that, man.
Wow.
I didn't know he fired my ass. I know that. I know he didn't like me that much. I knew that because I pushed him up against the wall when me and Rocky got a fighting.
All right, tell that story. Then we're going to ESS. I got to hear this story.
And then because SD told me that's what probably caused a lot of my trouble. You see, Rocky sometimes would leave me at the hotel and take off. And I used to, I finished like catching a cab, going there. But he done that to me several times. So the last time he did it, I saw him in the dressing room. Taggart Conway Jr. used to do that to me too. So me and Rocky, we got in a fight in the dressing room, and Pat went to break it up. And I was swinging, and my arm swung out and hit Pat. And I remember with the belt, I told him, I said, look, I told you not to do that with this guy. You should never put me with this guy because I was just so pissed off at Rocky for leaving me for the third time. So I shoved the belt in Pat's chest in front of the boys. I did it in front of the boys. And back in them days, so Vince had no choice then but to take action.
Pat was his right
Now,
hand
if
man,
I had,
yeah?
he's the top guy, and then I'm shoving the belts, and all the rest are sitting there looking at us. So that didn't go over too well with.
disappointed.
So let's put you in the WWE. I think one of your first major matches were against Macho Man Randy Savage. Give me your thoughts on Savage, and if you could possibly share his attitude. I don't know if Elizabeth was part of that at that point, and how did he treat Elizabeth and our gorgeous George in the WCW? Was he as jealous as everybody says he was?
I have heard stories about Mach, and they even put out, his family even endorsed the DVD they put out where they talked about how crazy he was.
Right.
Like locking her in the condo going, here's 21 TV dinners,
Right.
I'll be back in a week. Like locking her in where she couldn't get out. And that's dangerous. I mean, what if there's a fire? Like I got to think what if there's a fire. But no, he was super protective of her. And this is in a time when she was the only woman in wrestling. So there was no ladies' dressing rooms. There was none of that shit. So he'd have to, okay, everybody turn it back. Liz is coming through. There were some guys who would go, hey, Liz, take a look at that.
Right.
The boys are the boys.
Right.
And if they think it bothers you, then they do it more. And Randy was super intense. I remember when I was working with him, and this is at a time when Randy didn't put guys over, but he's putting Razor over.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did he script out your matches, like make these long move-for-move matches?
He did that with Dallas. I never did that with him.
Okay.
I don't want. It's not how Kurt taught me to work. Because what works in New York it might not work in Atlanta. Like you have to, it changes market to market.
Yeah. Okay.
How about the in-ring chemistry with you and Randy? How would you describe it?
Well, for me, it's Randy Savage. He's already a made star. So, and I'm getting a big push. They did 5 or 6 weeks of vignettes that Vince personally directed. Vince flew to South Beach with me and directed them. So I know I'm getting a push, but also I have the advantage of my boy Perfect being a liaison. He's already proved he's a great talent in the ring. And Vince loves him so much that they give him, he's collecting his Lloyd's of London insurance policy. So he's getting paid. And then he gets paid to be an announcer and trained by Vince. Vince is schooling him how to be an announcer. And he's at that part where he's kind of office, but he's one of the boys.
Did he help bring you into Vince? How did you exactly, arrive with Vince?
I remember calling Vince's office every week for a year.
Oy.
I would call Pat. Can I speak to Pat, please? I'm sorry. He's not available.
No.
I'll only
He's
speak
not
to you
available.
if you come to the office.
Would
naked.
you stop? He's got Pat. Never mind. Oh, Razor, you're so sharp.
And Pat
Razor, you got a nice ass. Come on to the
to me, if you've ever met Pat, he's like the most.
Help us out here.
He's the least gay acting guy
Really?
you'll ever be around.
Okay.
Okay.
And he's open
least
about
somebody
it.
said that.
He doesn't care. No, I love Pat.
Yeah, we don't know. We only
He's
hear
a
these
genius,
ridiculous
bro.
things.
He's a genius.
He is a genius. We'll give
He's
you that.
responsible for all the success of that company.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He's
And he
definitely
doesn't
a
get enough
genius.
credit. Well, he does, though, because they bring him around whenever he wants to come around. I see him at Mania now
Yeah.
these years.
And it really turned me off. So then these hits start coming up, and the guy who was the boxer who had the affair with my mother, and he was a hitman. He told me that it came in the lap of Lenny Montana. Lenny Montana was a pro wrestler. I told you that might be six. My son is 6'7". Lenny is 6'7". He looks identical to Lenny Montana, but he looks like Vince McMahon Jr. or Sr. too. So, I mean, I don't know. I wanted Vince to get a DNA test the last time I was 10 years ago. He wouldn't do it. Yeah,
So you did approach the McMahons.
I did
Hey.
approach and say, look, did you get a DNA test? But I did it for the Benoit thing because it's Nancy Benoit, and the kid may have been his, but that was basically my way of, I was so high.
Oh, so you don't think that he impregnated Nancy Benoit?
He could have, but I don't think so.
Well, you really think Vince was cheating on Linda?
Gee, I wonder.
With boys and girls.
Oh, great.
Oh, do tell.
Okay, yeah, that's a fact. But when we get to Nancy Argentino.
Wait, don't. But first, there's no
hope I
way
didn't
Vince
crush
sleep with
you right
Pat.
then.
Did Vince sleep with Pat Patterson?
Well, he's been around for
they did this big work out of this house, remember? He said, "Oh, I'm going to come out. I'm gay after 40 years, guys."
Legends
He's been
house.
taking it up the ass for the last 45.
They should have had you on, like coming out, like, give me your fucking break.
Well,
That would have been
everybody's
hilarious.
supposed to now think, "Oh, he's gay."
Yeah.
Well, no, he molested. Tom Zink is a real good example.
Bill, you're aware of Jerry Sandowski's fall from Penn State with the molesting of
Correct.
children on the Joe Paterno's watch. Should Pat Patterson be in jail?
Pat Patterson should be in jail. They should all be in jail.
There you go. Okay.
You know,
Okay, but let
anybody-
me ask you this question though, right? So you know, you're Billy Jack Haynes, you're in WrestleMania 3, you come to the back of the locker
WrestleMania
room,
3, baby.
and
Yeah.
you know.
A suit and tie. Totally different. Threw me off big time, because now it's like, okay, suit and tie, gotta be on time, you gotta do this, you gotta do
Well,
that.
first of all, who approaches you to come to the WWE? Is it, bless you.
Excuse me.
Is it Pat Patterson?
No, believe it or not, where is it?
Come
Pat
on
Patterson?
in. Come on in. We'll call you.
No, but now that you say that and stuff, I was always wondering, why was Pat Patterson and Jimmy Miranda always standing around the damn shower when I took a shower? I couldn't figure that out.
I hope he does the 450 naked.
What the hell? Too hot, Scorpio.
Too hot, Scorpio. This is getting bad, man.
Great ass.
But what I have to say, though, man.
So nice.
But what I have to say, regardless on what they believe in and what they like, they never crossed the line. They might have took a little peek or whatever. You want to look, you want to hold it, go ahead. But yeah, that's about as far as we go. You say you want to jump rope? Say what? Jump rope?
This ain't your ordinary Twizzler, Pat.
Okay, say no. It's an all-day Twizzler. It's an all-day Twizzler. Okay,
it'll put a smile on your face.
We have Patterson playing jump rope with Scorpio's wiener. What's going on here?
Who approaches you to join the WWE?
Believe it or not.
Somebody say something about Tommy Wildfire Rich. Whew, I love my beer, but I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, to all you beer drinkers out there. Hey, when it comes down to some good wine, I like this good fucking wine right here. So, ladies, gentlemen, y'all need to go down and get you some good fucking wine.
And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB. The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
10 years. You could definitely hear the passion that you have for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, forgive me for this, but I heard you mention Puerto Rico, and I just want to know what a legend thinks about here you are. I don't know if you were there, but I don't think you were there. But when you hear Bruiser Brody gets killed in Puerto Rico as a wrestler, what's going through your mind?
I wasn't surprised.
Brody
Right.
was a good guy. He flew with me, and but he was pushy. And you got to be careful. He's a big guy, you know. People, you got to be careful with what you say to people and what you know. If you perceive a threat, how's the person going to react? You know, and he could have been physical. You know, I've never seen him physical, but you know, and he was impressive. You know, he was a big guy, and he was a hell of a heel. And I think personally he was a good guy. I never had a problem with him. Him and Robley, they'd fly with me when I was in Oklahoma.
By the way, you're not the first person that has said on that couch that Brody might have pushed the limits on this deal and caused this upon himself.
First of all, the guy, it's not an excuse. I don't use it as an excuse. But first of all, his state of mind, because he lost his little girl drowned in the pool.
Invader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
You know.
Okay.
And Brody was hard to do business with, you know, in the ring. And I don't know any more than that. You know, there's a reason for a man to wrap towel around your wrist and having a knife and going into a room and, you know, stabbing them. But I don't know. I wasn't there. But it shouldn't have happened. But you don't know the state of mind of a person sometimes when they have a tragedy happen in their life, and it's a kid. You know.
Did you ever work Puerto Rico?
Oh yeah.
So
I wonder after that.
So
I made some money there because they paid me well. What's his name called me?
Cologne?
Cologne. I knew him for years. He called me, and he said, "We need you," and they took care of me. And I said, "Well, you know, I'll go because I have no problem going over there. I don't have no enemies, you know."
This is after Brody.
Yeah.
Were you one of the first ones to go there after Brody?
A lot of the guys boycotted. You know.
Right. So you're one of the first to go there after the Brody incident.
I don't remember if I was just the first, but yeah.
One of the first.
Yeah, it was not long after.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And
man,
I went. I said I didn't have anything to do with that. And the guy never went to jail, but you know, you're in a different country. You're part of the United States, but still, you know. And what didn't help him, it was his gimmick. He was a hell of a heel, you know. And he looked like a vicious guy, you know. You know, in his gimmick when he wrestled, you know, he was a violent guy in the ring wrestling, and that probably didn't help.
Right.
You know, people look at that, and the other guy was a small guy. He's a small guy. He's not a big guy.
All right. Ronnie, I got a fan question.
Said earlier, I'm big.
He helped
time,
me too, so
I'm big time into WWC. I've always been fascinated with the territory, and of course you were champion there at one point back in the day. Were you coming off what happened with the great Bruiser Brody? Were you worried about working down there when you got the call? Like, you know, did you think about that sort of thing? Was there an unsafe shadow hanging over Puerto Rico, and could you trust Cologne?
Oh, you being nice. Do you what you asking me? Did I have a shank? Yeah, I did.
There we go.
There
I didn't realize I had to say, bro, did you bring weapons? I mean, were you worried?
I have a shank.
Okay.
I had a shank, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there was no doubt about it. You know, like, I get it where, you know, some guys say, I can't believe that people would go down there and still work for Cologne and things like that. But, you know, I had a personal vendetta to get down there.
Interesting.
And the work the territory, you know. And I went to every projects, and they real. You know, when you're doing drugs, man, you know, and I'm hitting the beach, I'm working out, I'm hitting the gym, you know, I get high. This is what I do. Drink a case of beer before the wrestling match, you sweat it out when you get. By the time you get there, it's so damn hot in Puerto Rico.
Right.
So I wrestle, I go work out, go to a bar, drink up some more, get high. Wake up that morning, run on the beach, then go lift weights, get high again. That was my schedule.
I would have definitely.
You see what I'm saying?
That would have been fun.
And I worked out all the time.
Like that, yeah.
And I still do.
That. Go get some babes.
Yeah,
Oh, dude.
Kick it a little bit. Let's go to the beach.
Can I have a
get
shank?
some beers.
Can you get me a shank?
Oh, dude,
this is awesome.
But you said you had a personal vendetta. Like, what was the vendetta?
Well, the personal vendetta was to go down there and succeed. Succeed and do the things. I was
kind of on your own type of thing. Like,
TV
I can
champion.
do this on my own.
Right,
right. I got you.
TV champion, tag team champion.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And Carlos I didn't have no problem with Carlos. Carlito was down there.
I love Carlito.
His other brother.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody. We got along. Maybe I wrestled Jose.
Okay. Okay.
And
so you
but
did
have no problem.
Jose. Any personal feelings about Mr. Jose, Mr. Invader?
Man, when you overstep your boundaries and stuff, you don't stay in your lane, things happen.
Okay.
That's all I can say about that. Things happen.
Do you think the Colognes knew? I mean, you were down there.
Come on.
Most people
Puerto
don't even
Rico,
ask this
everybody.
question, but I'm asking it.
In Puerto Rico, I'm gonna say this.
I mean, it's almost like asking who shot
Camacho
JFK
got
in this
killed.
business,
Camacho got killed down there.
Right. Right.
That tells you.
Right. Something's up. Something's up.
You would get killed down there.
Yeah, you get.
If you don't know somebody that knows somebody, see, I spoke Spanglish. To get into a project.
Okay.
If I didn't speak in the project, because there's real drug boys, man.
Oh sure.
All down there.
Oh sure.
And so you walk into a place, you get shot right away.
Yeah.
If dead in the face, they shoot you dead in the face.
Well,
that's it. But I survived because I knew somebody that knew somebody.
And I think your statement. Stay in your lane. You're fine.
Stay in
get
your
out of your
lane.
lane.
Interesting.
You might get shanked in the shower. Right?
You can get it, man. You know what I'm saying? And if he even had an idea, I guarantee he wouldn't have went in that shower.
Right. We lost New Jack recently, and knowing you were coming in, obviously it's a great time to get to speak with you about New Jack. The man. I personally was a ECW. From the last time you guys were here, I'm sure I said it then too. ECW was my favorite company. It was my favorite company back in the day.
Yeah.
I absolutely. It felt like it was my company. This was the company I rooted for, and it felt so. It was the one for me. And Jack and you were one of my favorites, and I'm still not processing his being gone. Can you give me your thoughts on where you were when you heard, and how you were feeling, and how you're feeling now, and some memories of Jack for us, please?
Believe it or not, I was at a gym, and one of the guys that worked there, he said, "Man, New Jack is gone," and so I was shocked. Shocked, and not because we all going to go one day. I'm not saying that, but we still had a long way to go as far as projects and stuff together and things like that. And I knew the Jerome Young side. See, a lot of people see New Jack, the one where he want to stab you, but I knew Jerome Young side where, he said, when we decided to tag, he said, Mustafa, you got to do this, you get buy these boots, and we need this, what I'm saying, the stuff you need for the tag team, and that was all his gimmick. That was all his gimmick. Mustafa Saeed is in for money. You know what I'm saying? I'm in to make money. And Jack, but we happened to be friends because we were doing things before we wrestling. So I got to know the Jerome Young side, and then when they seen the New Jack side, don't get me wrong, he used to get pissed off at me.
Okay.
But would it be a real tag team? Would it be a successful tag team at all if you wasn't mad at each other? And I miss him. I really miss him, man. We had the real good laughs. Man, I ain't never laughed that hard. I think I did enough laughing for 10 lifetimes with him. So forget what everybody else see. He did a lot of stuff for the money. So if he says, "Oh, talk shit about Paul Lee," and he had legit shit to say about him, but it make money. Yeah, he'll go out and explain. Say something about Mustafa. Say something about D'Lo. And he was saying
the audience what they want to hear. Right?
Yeah, and people go, "Man, he's mad at you." Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So next thing you know, and I'm calling him on the phone, and we talking. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't call him because of that. We was talking. Hey, Mustafa, we got a show on the East Coast, man. You need to get ready, man. And that's what he would do.
Not that you would know this, and I'm just purely out of my speculation and some things I heard. Was his heart attack brought on by use of drugs at the time doing it, or was it just that his heart had enough from some of the stuff he was doing before? Do you know anything about that at all?
I think that when it's your time, it's your time. I've been in the military, so I was standing in formation. They make 3 or 4 guys stand in front of the line. He said, you're gone. Now what you guys gonna do to watch the rest of these people's back? So the reality was, I knew that I didn't think that far into it, but it just hurt me when I sat in the room. I didn't leave the room for a good probably 24 hours. Just staying in my own room there, probably 24 hours.
In the weeks that have passed since, have you found yourself looking at your Rolodex, maybe going, maybe I'll give Jack a call, and then
yeah,
once
I
again,
catch myself doing that. I catch myself doing that. About to text him. Things like that. I still got my mother's number, telephone number, my father's telephone number. I got Jack's number.
Right.
I got my brother's number. I got all the certain numbers. My aunt passed. You know what I'm saying? So I am not getting all
Do you keep record? Do you have recordings of them that you kept on your phone?
If I could, yes, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Sometimes I just listen to them, things like that. And every message is crazy.
Is it really?
I bet.
Get your ass over here. You're supposed to get some of this food over here. Got some greens and some chicken and stuff. Come on, man. Kind of stuff like that.
Where do you feel his legacy lies? What would you say if you were to write the obituary for his career, and where would you place him? How would you describe his wrestling career?
Oh, it'd be like Clubber Lang. Pain.
Clubber Lang.
Yeah. Because with it was, he showed the reality of how wrestling could be. But he also showed that he could wrestle.
Yes.
He could wrestle.
Yes,
but he didn't. He chose to do the latter. And that was his prerogative.
You think it was the style of wrestling or the matches? Because you know how much your good friend pushed his body. Do you think that had something to do with his?
Well, you adjust to you can't do some of the stuff that you did 10, 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And when you think back, when you look back at somebody didn't make no sense to do it. No matter how much money you was making.
Did you ever try to talk to him, or back in the day, about, hey, you might want to not jump 30 feet, keep it at 20?
Well, he was like this. Hey, don't you think? I would say something. I'm telling you to slow down a little bit. Nah, I'm a drug addict too, and trying to tell him. But anyway, at that time, and then and I don't knock that. I'm gonna tell you one thing though. I'm getting off subject just a little bit. Weed is not a bad thing for people.
Agreed.
Okay, we will get back on that subject later.
Okay.
But back to I used to tell him. He said, Mustafa, I'm good. I said, all right, I'll leave him alone. Every time I would say, Jack, you don't have to do that. You got the popularity.
You're over, man. You're over. Take it.
You know what I'm saying? You're doing your thing, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You bouncing, man. You got more bounce to downs, bro. You know what I'm saying? But that's how he is.
All right. With that, we'll be right back.
What I'm saying is, I didn't see that.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to speak on something I don't see.
This is if you had a final opportunity to say something to Jack, and you knew he was going to pass, but you had the opportunity to say something to him, what would you say?
I love you. I didn't get to say that. Because I told him, I said, next time we get together, and then, I would tell him I love him.
With that, we'll take a quick commercial break.
Tony, I want to stay on the subject of the dark side of the ring. You know, we've had you in several times in the past, and we've actually purposely stayed away from the Bruiser Brody subject. But tonight, I wanted to know, can you give the fans any closer insight about that night that you may not have? I'm sure you've been asked this 1,000 times. Is there anything that you may want to disclose that we may not know about the stabbing of Brody? And I would really like to get your personal feelings about Carlos Colon.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and you could pick and choose what you hear now that you felt like you didn't. You probably heard it then, but didn't quite. You know, sometimes you watch a movie and you miss something, then you watch it again and say, oh, wow, you know, I just noticed that. So sometimes just by telling the story again helps a great deal. It was so strange with me and Brody. Me and Brody been known each other since the 70s. I first met him, he was working in Amarillo, Texas. And he just got through playing college football and everything. And we worked together some then. We worked all over. But then I went to Von Erich territory in Texas. And I went in as the Black Superman. That's when I first started wearing the Superman suit. And George Scott was the booker. When George Scott left and left Brody as the booker, Brody said, Tony, George Scott said, don't worry, Brody going to take care of you. 1 week after Brody took the book, he didn't book me for no shows. He didn't book, at that time, the Dingo Warrior for no shows. With the Dingo Warrior working back and forth between Japan.
Just in case fans don't know, Dingo Warrior ended up being the Ultimate Warrior in the WWE.
It became the Ultimate Warrior.
Yes.
But at that time, he was the Dingo Warrior, and he was working back and forth between Japan and World Class Wrestling. And Brody left us at home. One day, Brody called me and said, Tony, I got your book. So I went down to Fort Worth, Texas to do the TV because I figured, you know, because I was traveling back and forth out of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was the only place I could wrestle because Vince had blackballed me everywhere else. So the only place I could work during that year was World Class Wrestling and Puerto Rico. So I was going back and forth in Puerto Rico. So when I got there, Brody said, well, I made a mistake, you're not booked. So I got so pissed off, and you can ask some of the guys that was around during that time, I challenged Brody to a fight on the parking lot. I invited him out in the parking lot.
Nice.
And then the guy came up, Earl, his name was Eric Razor or something like that.
Eric Embry?
Embry.
Eric Embry, look at you.
He was there.
Florida.
So if you talk to Eric Embry, you ask him about that. So I wanted to fight Brody. So I called out the parking lot. Earl Embry came out and said, Tony, you better leave. They called the cops on you.
What?
And I said, F the cops. They said, Tony, these cops will shoot you.
Ooh.
Get in your car, get the fuck out of here. I got in my car, I left. I didn't see Brody anymore until he came to Puerto Rico. So he was there for the whole week. I didn't say nothing to him the whole week. Finally, we was in the gym working out. Brody walked over to me. I laid the waist down. I figured we're gonna go at it.
Oh boy.
He held his hand out to me. He said, Tony, I'm sorry for what happened to you in Texas. I had nothing to do with that. He said the reason that they got rid of you and the reason that they would not book the Warrior is because both of y'all got better physique than Curry Von Erich. See, Curry was in an accident. He wrecked. He was in a auto accident and he lost 1 foot, so he was out of the scene for a while. So now he's coming back. Well, you know, Curry had a great physique too.
Yeah.
So the Ultimate Warrior was lucky. He went to Vince and became the Ultimate Warrior. I went to Puerto Rico. So after me and Brody, we talked to everything. He said, but I promise you, Tony, I promise you, things will be different here. He said, I waited a long time to get in down here. Now, I knew then he wasn't talking about wrestling because he'd been wrestling there for years.
Promoting?
He bought in. He gave them money he bought some of the territory. He bought some shit.
So whose shares did he take?
From what I hear, I'm not for sure because I'm not in the office. I hear he took Gorilla Monsoon.
Wow.
Shares. Because Monsoon had shares in there. So he bought, I think, was Monsoon share. Now you talk to Abdullah, the butcher, a lab piece of shit. He's going to say it didn't happen. but that's him. He got to live with that. So anyway, we shook hands and everything. And then we left. We went back to the hotel. Well, I went upstairs, showered and everything, got dressed, and I told the guy at the gym, because he said, I never saw you wrestle. He said, I'm coming tonight to watch wrestling. I said, you want to get in free? He goes, yeah. I said, why don't you give me a ride to the arena? That way you can get in free, and then later on we go out and get some paella. Paella is like rice with seafood in it.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay.
And he said, oh, great. He said, I know a great place make the best paella. So he said, you mind if I bring my wife along? At that time was his girlfriend. I said, no, go ahead. So the guy pulled up to get me. I came out of the hotel. It was called the Tanama. And Brody and Dutch Mantel was sitting on the steps. So I said, Brody, why you staying here? I said, I'm always late. How come you late today? He said, I'm waiting for Jose to pick me up. Now, man, you out there, Fat, Jose is the man that murdered him. He was waiting at the hotel for his murderer. He had no idea. They rode together all week. They rode together the whole week. So Brody had no idea. So I got in the back seat, me and Dutch Mantel sat in the back seat. The bodybuilder, the guy that owned the gym, I think they call it the Muscle Factory or something like that. The Muscle Factory. The girl slid over to the center, and Brody sat in the front seat because he's so big, he couldn't fit in the back. So me and Dutch had to get in the back seat. Mantel would tell the same story. He was there. So we get to the building, and as y'all know, I do artwork. So Mark and Jay Youngblood had contracted me to do a picture for them. So I was putting the finishing touch on the picture. Bruiser Brody walked over to me and said, wow, I didn't know you drew like that. He said, that looked just like them guys. He said, I had pictures done of my son before, but it was character drawn with the big head and a small body. He said, can you do one of my boy for me, my son? I said, I can have it done for you. I said, I'll be finished with this one in about a few minutes, and I get started on yours now. I said, give me the picture. I start on it now. I said, we got another week here. Before the week is out, I have your picture done for you. He said, what I owe you? I said, nothing, brother. I said, I just like to draw. I said, I don't charge, my friend. So Brody said, okay. So as he reached in his pouch to get his picture, by then Jose, I skipped the part. When me and Brody first walked in, Carlos Colon, Victor Jerica, and Jose, the murderer, they were sitting like in a football huddle. When Brody came through the door, they all did this. Like they saw a ghost. Jose got up, left out of the dressing room. Didn't pay no attention. I went down and started doing my drawing. So Jose come back into the dressing room. He had a towel over his hand. And he came up to Brody. He said, Brody, can I talk to you, por favor? Por favor is Spanish for please. Very nice, very relaxed, very respectful. So Brody, very nice, turned around and go, okay. And Brody turned, and I was reaching to get the picture. So like say the picture was coming, I almost had the picture in my hand, and then when Jose called it, Brody turned. But he still had the picture in his hand. And Jose walked in front of Brody into the shower. Brody walked in behind Jose. As soon as Brody stepped in the shower, this is what I hear. Just like that. I looked up. When I looked up, Jose raised the knife in the air like this. I sprung from my seat, grabbed Brody around the waist. I pulled him back. When I pulled him back, the knife came back, cut off some of his ponytail. I went to grab Jose. I'm holding Brody with one arm, trying to hold him up, and try to sucker punch this bastard in the face. Carlos Colon cut me off. Grab Jose, push Jose up against the wall, and say, no, Jose, no, Jose. So I went, the Brody looked at me and said, brother, I'm hurt. Don't let them.
Real quick, Tony, do you think no Jose meant that Jose was going to come try to stab you and he stopped him from stabbing you, or was just, he was like...
Was Cologne full of shit anyway? Cause...
Let me tell you something. I was as worried about Jose stabbing me as I'm worried about getting pregnant.
Okay. There you go.
There's too much shit in the dressing room you can whack. Brody would never got stabbed if he had known. He would have took that knife from Jose and shoved it up his butt if he had known. Right. Brody had a picture of his son, his one hand, had his wrestling bag in the other hand.
Oh, so you're thinking if he didn't grab that picture from you, he might have been able to defend himself.
Picture my hand.
Yeah.
Brody is like, this is Jose.
Uh-huh.
Here's Brody. Mm-hmm. He turned into him.
Right.
He turned and hit him.
Right.
Yeah.
Brody never saw the knife.
Never. Right.
I tell you, it was in his, when Brody first laid out on his knife, it was in his stomach.
Mm.
He turned and hit him. I'm looking at he turned. I thought he punched him.
Right.
Because Brody's so wide, you can't even see Jose.
Mm.
But Brody will walk up behind him. If you could picture it in your man, and all of a sudden you follow somebody, they just turn and stick you. What you gonna do?
Right.
So Carlos was more afraid of me getting a hold of Jose. That's what he was trying to protect Jose, not me. He cared red ass about me.
Right.
But anyway, make a long story short. So Brody said, "I'm hurt, brother. Don't let them." He didn't say him.
Right.
He said them. Don't let them hurt me anymore. I said, brother, don't worry about it. Ain't nobody going to do a fucking thing to you. So I laid him down on the floor. Carlos tried to talk to him. I told Carlos, I said, if you come over here, I'm going to knock your head right off your freaking shoulders. I said, if anybody come over here, I'm going to knock the head off the shoulder. So Carlos said, I want to talk to him. So Brody laid on the floor. He tugged on my pants leg like this. He said, let Carlos come. Carlos come over and asked Brody, said, anything I could do for you? Brody said, take care of my family. So then the ambulance came after about an hour and 45 minutes. Almost 2 hours he laid in the floor bleeding.
Why so long?
Because it was the beginning of the show, and all the fans was coming in.
Okay.
So this was at the beginning of the show. So at them days, the arena used to be packed.
Right.
So the ambulance had a long time getting there. Well, they didn't rush either because they come to the show before. They would think it's a regular. Because the people they saw was an elderly lady and an old man. And they couldn't lift Brody. So one of the guys said, can somebody help us lift him up and put him on the ambulance? So I went over and I stuck my hand under him. I squatted down so I could lift the girder up. And Brody said, don't you drop me. I said, brother, I curl more than you weigh. So he got a little smile on his face, so I put him on the ambulance. Then, as we was leaving, the guy turned again and said, anybody want to go to the hospital with him? Every wrestler in that dressing room turned their head.
Right.
They turned around. Yeah. I got on the ambulance. I'm on the back. And it was this Mexican guy was called Hercules somebody. I can't remember his name. He had a son, Miguel Perez, that used to wrestle.
Hercules Ayala?
No, not Ayala. His name was Miguel Perez was his son.
Okay.
Okay.
Perez.
Okay.
And he was called Hercules. He had like a V shape. He wasn't very big, maybe about 190 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I saw him. And I was very strong in them days. I grabbed him by the belt.
Yeah, in them
I
days.
grabbed him by the belt. I drug him on the ambulance. He said, Tony, don't get me involved in this. Don't get me involved in this. I said, all I want you to do is interpret for me. I couldn't speak Spanish. I said, I just want you to tell them what I say. He said, okay. And I kept holding him. He kept trying to get off that ambulance. But once we got on the interstate, he kind of stopped trying to jump off the ambulance.
Yeah.
So we get to the hospital, and they put Brody in there, and he was laying on the table, and I'm waiting for the doctor. Nobody coming. So finally I saw a doctor walk down the hallway reading a paper. I said, are you a doctor? He read some paper or something. I said, you a doctor? He said, yes. I said, I got my friend got stabbed. The doctor walked over to the emergency room and opened up the door. In Puerto Rico, a stabbing is like a cold in America.
Oui.
The doctor ignored it. He turned to walk away. I grabbed that rascal by his waist and threw him up on my shoulder, just like this. I carry him into Brody and set him down right in front of Brody. I said, you're going to look at my friend. So Brody had his hand over the cut. The doctor lifted the cut. The doctor never saw nothing like that before. He said, oh, my God, we need to get him in operation right away. So they got Brody in operation. So I sat there for about an hour and a half while they were doing the thing. The doctor came out. He said, your friend is stable. He said he got 2 8-inch cuts. One cut his liver, one cut his intestine. We got the intestine fixed. We working on the liver now. He said, but we would recommend you go home because everybody in this hospital is scared of you. He said, you got everybody so nervous He said, I'm afraid that you're going to cause more harm than good. Why don't you come back in the morning? I said, you sure he's okay? He said, your friend going to be okay. We got him stable. His blood pressure, everything is stable. So I left and I went back to the building. When I got back to the building, I'm walking towards the dressing room. I hear, hey, 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 ha, 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 hey, great match. The blood is still wet on the floor. Ain't even dry yet. The guys was laughing and joking about talk about their matching. I got pissed off. I wanted to beat up everybody in the dressing room. Carlos come over to me and say, Tony, go to the ring. The Sheik is waiting for you. Do your match so you can go back and see Brody later. So I went in the ring. I wrestled with the Iron Sheik. The Sheik said, brother, what happened with the Brody? And I said, Jose stabbed him. Jose Gonzalez stabbed the Brody? I go, yes. Fuck this. Let's go. So all we did in that match, if you ever see that match, we locked up. He said, give me headbutt, brother. I headbutted. Sheik rolled out the ring, went back to the dressing room. We didn't even give him a match. I get back to the dressing room. A policeman is standing there. He said, he said, we just left the hospital. They told me we left, went to the hotel. We were looking for you. And he said, you the only one that have not gave a statement. You the only one that have not gave a statement. He said, what, do you know what happened? I said, yes. He said, what happened? He said, I said, y'all excuse my language. I said, that son of a bitch right there stabbed him. He said, you mean Vader? Because he was, I said, the invader. I said, yeah, that son of a bitch right there stabbed Brody. I was looking right there. He said, how is that possible? And I said, why? He said, everybody in the dressing room that I interviewed said that a wrestling fan did it. So they already had made the story up while I was gone of what they're going to tell the police. So I went back to my hotel room, and what's his name? Sabio Vega? Yeah, he was wrestling there as TNT. He was there with my bag. He said, don't go to your room, Tony. They're looking for you because you talking. If you ever talk to Sabio Vega, I always shake his hand. He saved my life. They was waiting for me up in my room. They were going to kill me. So I walked the beach the whole day. Finally, the next morning, I said, screw it. If they up there, we're going to battle. I said, I ain't going to we're going to battle if they're over there. When I got there, one of the seekers said, come on, brother, we're having a meeting in Abdullah the Butcher room. Now, Abdullah on the dark side said there was no meeting. You asked Seeker, there was a meeting. You asked Dutch Mantel, there was a meeting. You asked anybody but Abdullah the Butcher, there was a meeting.
Why would he lie? What's he got to gain?
I think because he got shares in it. And he was the one that called for the meeting. And he don't want Carlos to know that he got the boys to boycott the week. Because it wasn't for Abdullah calling that meeting. Because Abdullah and Brody was good friends. And we boycotted the week. Nobody would wrestle for him no more that week. And it was our way of standing up to him, boycotting it. So after the meeting, the guy said, well, somebody need to go to, one of the wrestlers said, well, somebody need to go and tell the police what happened. And everybody said, well, I didn't see it. I wasn't there. Dutch Mantel said, well, I left out of the dressing room. I didn't actually see it. When I came back, it was already done. And
was Dutch telling the truth, or is he just like he didn't want any part of it?
I didn't see him leave the dressing room.
Okay.
I didn't see him leave. I didn't see him come in. He said he did, but I didn't see it.
I got you.
I can't talk to that because I was drawing. So anyway, Seeker, for people who don't know who Seeker is the father of Roman Reigns. And if you look at the picture of Seeker, they look like twins, right?
Yeah.
He looked just like his dad.
Yeah.
So Seeker said, I go with you, brother. So I said, oh, okay. I mean, if you got Seeker, if y'all really knew Seeker in his younger days, you didn't need nobody else. Right. I mean, Seeker and Alpha was pretty big. Peter Mavias and
large.
Oh my God,
Oh, yeah.
Seeker was powerful, big, strong, powerful Samoan. So he went with me. I gave my report. I asked the policeman. I said, if I come to trial, can I have protection? He said, once you get to the courthouse, we can protect you. Outside, we can't. He said, we don't have enough manpower to do that. I said, well, I got a .357 Magnum I'd like to bring along with me. He said, that's okay with me as long as you can clear with the airline. I called the airline. The airline said, as long as I check it. I can't carry it all.
Yeah, right.
I have to check it with my luggage, and you have to fill out some paper to say you got a weapon. So I said, okay, y'all did. I gave him my address, gave him everything. I've got to the airport. I sat at the airport. And back in them days, you didn't have to make reservations if you got cash. Remember, you could buy a ticket with cash.
You just
throw the money on the table. They
Right.
get your ticket and go to play. And I didn't hear no more about Brody until after the trial. I saw it on TV. That's how I found out it was a trial.
After the trial.
I never received
How
anything.
on earth? You're the one eyewitness.
Well, you see.
How does Tony Atlas not wind up taking the stand and putting this guy where he belongs?
Me and Monte talked about this earlier. When you have political power and wealth, people can't afford to land in what you want. To them, Brody was just a big white American. Carlos Colon was the heartbeat of that island. He was the most popular thing on that island. You know?
He's the Bruno of that island. I got you.
He was the Bruno
I got you.
Sammartino.
Carlos Colon, murderer?
Well, he didn't do the murder.
Conspired to murder. What says Tony Atlas?
That's a good question.
Seriously.
You're on the spot, Mr. Atlas.
Come on, Tony.
But see, I'm the type of person, I don't like to speculate. I only like to talk about what I could prove and what I could do. If I call that man a murderer, he'd take me to court. How am I going to prove it?
Understood. Now, you did say something interesting earlier, though. You said you were afraid that they were after you. And you felt who's they? Is it Carlos? Is it
I kept hearing the term both from Brody when he was down. He said, "Don't let them hurt me anymore." Them. He said them. Then when Sabio Vega came to get me, he said, "They are looking for you." In both incidents, they used the term "they," which gave me the impression that it was a conspiracy. See, what I think what happened, I'm giving my opinion on this, because I watched some of the dark side, and I hear one of the guys say that Brody said he's going to get his money back even if he got to beat the hell out of him. So, and then I hear that Carlos Colon had gambling debts. Now, there's something that's not here at the airport. There was a guy at the airport sitting with me. He would go back and forth. He was a nurse's assistant, CNA, and he said, "Man, I'm sorry about what happened to your buddy." I said, "Yeah." I said, "The doctor," I said, "They should sue the hospital." He said, "They had a guy stable." He said, "No, it wasn't the hospital." I said, "It wasn't?" He said, "No." He said, 2 seconds after you left, 2 seconds. He said, some security people came and told us, stop working on the wrestler. They went to the hospital and finished the job with this guy, this orderly. Is that what you call him, orderly? He told me that. He was there.
So let me ask you: have you ever, after this is all said and done, and you're still wrestling, you ever run across Carlos Colon again?
Yeah.
And what's your feelings there? Are you just
How awkward is that? Or is it just the business? The business just made you
well, see,
indifferent after?
I don't mean to bring race into it, but me being a black man, I can't do what other people do.
Okay.
I can't. Carlos is rich and powerful. I'm a poor old black man. Whatever happened, they're going to blame me. I can't do what they do. Like when me and Tommy Wildfire Rich go out and get drunk and miss a show, they fire me, they made Tommy world champion. You understand? I learned that. A lot of people don't want to believe that's how the world.
So you felt helpless, kind of during this.
I was helpless.
That's interesting.
So the best thing for me to do, I had nobody on my side.
Okay.
Even I noticed Brody didn't have one friend in the world, not one. Everybody turned their back on him that day.
Well, let's be honest. Like,
was it because he was a loner in the business?
No, because what happened in the wrestling world, when one wrestler is gone, like I said earlier, the way the other guys look at it, it's an open door for them. Who became the booker after Brody died?
That's rough.
You know who became the booker?
Gonzalez.
No.
Who?
Dutch Mantel.
Oh, well, go surprise there. He would have been next on my list. Wow. And he accepted it, too. So even though he knows this guy's murdered, but you see, we could go back to what you told me about Brody coming up to you and go, "Hey, Tony."
The same thing in Owen Hart. How many guys left Vince because of it?
Nobody.
That's wrestling.
And we pointed out
And
Owen
people
Owen
used to always
stayed
say,
with Vince
all
after
you
we screwed
guys,
Brett.
all you guys are friends.